I stand on the porch. Rain beats my face. Wind tugs at my coat. Thunder makes the whole house shake. I hold my baby tight. Her little body trembles in my arms. I pull my coat around her like a blanket and whisper, "It's okay. Mama's here." My voice is small, but I say it anyway. The door is closed. I knock. I knock softly at first, like someone who hopes. The knob does not turn. The curtain moves. I see my mother's hand pull it shut. I see the shape of my father behind her. They watch me through the glass. They do not open the door. I feel the words burn in my throat. "Please," I say to the window. "Please let us in. She's only a baby." My knuckles hurt from the cold when I pound on the wood. My voice is lost in the rain. Inside, I can see the light from the TV. I see the warm glow of the living room. They sit there and watch. They laugh. My baby presses her cheek to my wet shirt. Her tiny fingers curl in my sweater. She cries in that high, small sound that makes my chest hurt more than the rain. I hold her closer until she calms. I rock her until her hiccups slow down. My clothes are heavy with water. My shoes squish with each step. The rain feels endless. They said, "Better the rain deal with you. She's useless anyway." I hear my father's voice in my head. I hear the way my mother said it like it was nothing. Their words are sharp like broken glass. For a long time I stand there. Dawn comes slow. The sky goes from black to gray to pale. My teeth chatter. My arms grow tired, but I do not move. I think of leaving. I think of going somewhere warm, somewhere safe. But the baby is small. I have her. So I do not leave. When the first light comes, my mother peeks. Her face is a small curious thing behind the curtain. I lift my chin and look back. My eyes meet hers through the glass. I do not cry anymore. I only stand. She looks surprised. That surprise tells me one thing: they thought I would break. They thought the storm would take me away. They were wrong. After the storm, I sleep on a neighbor's couch. Mrs. Halverson lives next door. She is an older woman with kind eyes. She wraps us in blankets and makes us tea. "No mother and father should be like that," she says low. Her voice cracks something inside me that had been soft and sad for a long time. For the first time, someone says it out loud: they are not kind. They are cruel. I start to plan. Not to hurt. Not yet. First, to keep my little girl safe. I take extra shifts at the diner. I carry trays with plates and cups while my baby naps in a sling against my chest. I clean floors at night when the restaurant is quiet. The vacuum hums and my hands ache, but the money I earn buys warmth and food and a tiny bed for my daughter. They keep living as if nothing happened. My mother posts pictures online of candles and curtains. My sister wears a new dress and smiles into a camera. My father goes to poker with his friends and brags about luck. They act like they are a perfect family. I watch them from far away. They do not see me hiding in the corners of their life. Slowly, I collect things. Receipts for the bills I paid. Photos of the clothes they buy for themselves. Notes from neighbors who saw me at work late at night. A small paper becomes a stack. The stack becomes a map. It shows who took what, and who pretended to help but never did. Each paper is a small proof. Each proof is a quiet promise I make to myself. A flyer appears about a community dinner. My parents volunteer to help, of course. They love to stand in front of people and smile. The flyer is their stage. I fold my papers into a file and put my baby in her stroller. I go to the building where the dinner will be. I stand outside and breathe deep. The hall is bright and loud and full of people who clap for my parents when they stand up to speak. I walk in. My wet shoes squeak on the shiny floor. Heads turn. Whispers run like little rivers. My father's face goes still. My mother drops her smile like a mask. Lindsay, my sister, stops laughing with her friends. I hold my baby on my hip. I step toward the microphone my father put down after his speech. For a moment, I only feel the weight of the papers in my hand and the cotton of my sweater against my baby's back. I take the mic. The room goes quiet. I tell them the truth. I tell them how I knocked in the rain and how they closed the curtains. I show the receipts. I show the notes from neighbors. I tell the room about how I worked to pay the bills that kept their house warm while they used my money to buy jewelry and curtains. My voice shakes, but I keep speaking. Every word lands like a small stone. People whisper. Some cover their mouths. Others look away. My mother tries to grab the microphone back. Her nails dig into her palm and she pulls away. They try to say I am making it up. They call me dramatic. I do not shout. I do not cry. I let the paper speak. I say, you called me useless. You left me and my baby in the storm. You made us sleep cold and damp while you watched a television show and joked about being perfect. The room shifts. Faces that used to smile at my parents now look at them and frown. A woman with pearls says, monsters. A man shakes his head and says, you should be ashamed. Applause starts slowly, then it grows. Not the friendly clap for manners. This is a clap like thunder, strong and true. People stand and look at my parents and then at me. I feel light, like I have dropped a heavy stone I carried for too long. After the dinner, I leave with my baby. The night is clear and full of stars. I breathe in the cold air and feel something loosen inside me. I had been buried once by rain and cruel hands. Now I walk away and I can see the sky. It feels like the beginning of something. Life does not become easy. I still work long hours. I still count cents. I still patch my daughter's socks and read her stories by a small lamp. But I no longer live for their approval. I live for my child. I cook pancakes with burnt edges and she laughs like it is the most perfect thing. I teach her to clap when she takes her first steps. I teach her to say please and thank you and to stand up tall when someone is unkind. Sometimes town people stop me and whisper, we never knew. Some bring baskets with food. Some offer a ride. A few of the old family friends stop speaking to my mother. Her smile grows thinner. My father stops getting invited to some nights. That feels small but it matters. It is like the snow melting off a roof in spring. I keep my papers and lists safe. I write down where each dollar came from and where it went. I save little notes from the neighbors, the ones who said they saw me in the rain. Over time, I learn how to be careful. I learn how to use silence like a tool. When my parents brag, I listen and watch. They tell stories about church and charity and their perfect family. I put each boast into my small book of proof. One day, a charity from the city calls. They need someone to speak about families who are hurt in secret. The organizers ask for a story that is true, not loud, just honest. I say yes. I bring the papers. I bring the neighbors who will stand with me. I bring the photographs. For the first time, I do not stand on a cold porch begging. I stand on a stage with light and people who want to listen. When I speak, I see faces change again. Some people had only known my parents from the outside, so polished, so kind. When I tell it plain, without shouting, they feel something in their hearts. My mother's friends stop smiling when they look at her. My father's bragging falls flat. My sister hides in the back of the house when her friends come over. The family's picture of perfection cracks. I am careful with my words. I do not want to hurt for the sake of hurting. I only want truth. I want other children to know that grown-ups can be wrong. I want mothers to know that being strong does not mean being loud. For my daughter, I want a life that is quiet and safe. I want her to grow up with the knowledge that her mama stood up for her. There are nights when I still dream of the storm. I wake up with the sound of rain in my ears and my hands reaching for a door that is already closed. I sometimes see my mother's face in windows. I sometimes want to run and knock and ask her why. But then I remember the small hand on my collar, the steady beat of my daughter's breath, and the curled paper files on my shelf. I remember Mrs. Halverson's warm tea and the neighbors who whispered their proof. My heart grows steady and I breathe. Years go by. My daughter learns to ride a bike. I push her down the street until she finds balance and then I let go. She laughs and rides toward the park with a friend. I watch her from a bench, hands wrapped around a cup of cheap coffee, and I feel fierce. The small, fierce love inside me is a shape I would carry forever. It is sharper and kinder than the sharp words I once heard. Sometimes my mother walks by the market with a new scarf. She looks at me and looks away. Once she stopped at a sidewalk and watched my daughter play. She did not come close. She did not speak. I did not call to her. I only held my daughter's hand and went home. The silence between us feels like a big window. It is clear and nothing more. I do not wish small things for them. I do not whisper plans to make them hurt as they made me hurt. I only want truth to live like light in the town. I want people to know that smiling in public does not always mean the heart is kind. I want my child to know that if the world is unfair, you can still be good. The little file of receipts sits in a drawer. Sometimes I take it out and look at the neat handwriting on a bill. I remember the nights of cleaning floors, the burn of coffee in my nose, the late buses home. I remember the first time my daughter said mama and the first time she wrapped her legs around me when she was scared. These things are gems. They matter more than the curtains and the dresses and the poker nights. There are times when neighbors come to my door with news, someone important is saying something bad about my parents, or someone wants to thank me for speaking up. I smile and I let the words wash over me. I do not gloat. It feels unnecessary. The truth already did its work. People do not like to be lied to forever. My daughter grows tall. She asks me questions. Why did Grandma close the door? She says once when she finds an old photo. I kneel down to her level and show her the picture. I put my arm around her and say, sometimes grown-ups are not kind. Sometimes they forget what matters. She is small but she understands. She watches me as if I am the whole world. She believes me when I say we are safe now. We make a life with small bright things. We paint the kitchen purple on a Saturday and laugh when it looks messy. We plant tomatoes in a broken pot. We invite friends over for soup. We sing silly songs in the shower. My daughter learns to share, to say sorry, to help sweep crumbs from the floor. She grows into someone who cares for others. I do not forget. I carry the memory like a tool, not like a weight. When I see a child who looks lost, I take a blanket to them. When I hear a neighbor cry at night, I knock gently and offer tea. That is how I use what I lived. I made a rule, never be the cruel hand that closes a door. Be the warm home that opens it. There are quiet moments when I think of what could have been. If my parents had opened the door that night, if they had let the rain wash over them together with us, maybe our story would be different. Maybe my daughter would have had cousins who fed her cake on birthdays and parents who came to watch her recital. I do not know. I only know what is real. The door was closed and my baby and I survived. One afternoon, many years later, a young woman comes to my table in the market. She sits and tells me, softly, that she read about my speech. She says the words made her call her brother and tell him she loved him. She says she stopped waiting to be loved so she could find help. Her eyes are wet, but she smiles. I feel a small heat of joy. My truth made room for someone else's courage. My daughter becomes a brave person. She stands up when someone is mean to a smaller child. She helps push a scooter back up a hill. She studies hard and brings home papers with gold stars. She holds my hand when we walk through the market. Once, she said to me, "Mama, I want to help people who hide." I felt a fierce proud like the sun coming out. I never wanted to be the person who breaks others. I wanted only to be the one who keeps her child warm. In the end, that kept me alive and kept my heart clear. The people who once laughed at me found their own small falls. Their friends stopped believing the shiny story. It was not a loud punishment. It was the slow, honest change of people seeing the truth. When I tuck my daughter into bed now, she looks up at me with big eyes full of trust. I kiss her forehead and say, "You are safe. You are loved." She smiles and closes her eyes. The house is quiet. Rain comes sometimes, but when it does, we are inside with blankets and cookies and stories. I think of the storm less and less. It is a memory like a far-off drum. It tells me to be careful and brave. It reminds me not to let anyone tell my child she is useless. It reminds me that doors can close, and we can still go on. I tell this story because someone has to say the truth out loud. Because a closed door can hurt, but it can also teach a person how to build better doors. I tell it so my daughter knows that when someone is cruel, it is not her fault. I tell it so that other people hear and do better. Now, when I walk past the house where my parents live, I do not look to see if they are watching. I only look at my daughter's small hand in mine and then forward to the path ahead. The rain feels different now, cleaner, like a promise. The thunder, if it comes, is only a sound. We have blankets and a warm light and a kitchen that smells like soup. And every night I whisper to my little girl, "We are okay. We made our own home in the storm." Please like and subscribe for more videos. Also comment where you're watching from.